Let me ask you something. When was the last time you made a decision and later realized it wasn't really your decision? Not fully, not completely, not consciously. Maybe it was a text you sent, a girl you chased, a job you stayed in, a boundary you didn't set, and in that moment, you told yourself, it's fine, it's normal, this is just how life is. But deep down, something felt off. Because here's the truth most men never learn. You are being controlled, far more than you think. Not with force, not with threats, but with psychology, invisible pressure, subtle manipulation, emotional triggers. And the scariest part? The people doing it don't always look like enemies. Sometimes it's your friends, sometimes it's women, sometimes it's society itself. And if you don't see these patterns, you don't just lose control. You lose respect, power, direction. So today we break it. These are 7 psychological tricks people use to control you that most men never notice. Trick number 1, the guilt hook. You've felt this before. Someone says, wow, I didn't expect that from you. I guess I just care more than you do. After everything I've done for you, and suddenly, you feel it. That pressure in your chest, that urge to fix things, even if you did nothing wrong. That's not emotion, that's control. Guilt is one of the oldest manipulation tools in human psychology because it doesn't attack your logic. It attacks your identity. It makes you feel like you're a bad man, you're selfish, you're not enough. So what do most men do? They apologize, they overcompensate, they give more than they should, and slowly, they lose their backbone. Here's the truth. Real respect is never built on guilt. If someone constantly makes you feel guilty for having boundaries, they're not trying to connect with you. They're trying to control you. Trick number 2, the silent punishment. This one is deadly because it doesn't come with words. It comes with absence. No reply. Cold behavior. Distance. Energy shift. You go from being valued to being ignored, and your brain starts racing. Did I do something wrong? Why is she acting like this? How do I fix it? So you chase, you text more, you explain yourself, you try to regain approval. And just like that, you've been trained. This is psychological conditioning. Reward when you behave right, withdrawal when you don't. It's the same principle used in training animals. Let that sink in. If someone uses silence to control your behavior, they are not emotionally mature. They are strategically manipulating your attention. A strong man doesn't chase silence. He lets it expose the truth. Trick number 3, the validation trap. This is how they hook you at the beginning. They give you everything. Attention, praise, interest. You feel seen, you feel chosen, you feel powerful. And then they pull back just a little. Not enough to leave, but enough to create uncertainty. Now you're hooked because your brain starts chasing that original high. You start thinking, how do I get her back to how she was? What changed? And that's when control begins, because now, your behavior is no longer driven by logic. It's driven by approval addiction. This is why so many men stay in situations that drain them, because they're not chasing the person anymore. They're chasing the feeling they once had, and that feeling is being used against them. Trick number 4, the frame control. Whoever controls the frame controls the interaction. Frame out the meaning of what's happening. Example, you set a boundary. She says, wow, you're so insecure. Now suddenly, the frame has changed. You're not a man with standards. You're insecure. So what do most guys do? They defend themselves. They explain. They backtrack. And in doing that, they lose the frame. Here's the reality. Power is not about reacting. It's about defining. If someone can redefine your actions, they can control your behavior. Strong men don't argue inside someone else's frame. They hold their own. Calm, unshaken, unmoved. Trick 5, the overwhelm strategy. This one is subtle and dangerous. It's when someone throws too much at you. Too many emotions, too many arguments, too many problems all at once. So you can't process it. You can't think clearly. You just want it to stop. So what do? You give in. You agree. You surrender your position. Just to regain peace. That's not resolution. That's psychological overload. And it's designed to break your resistance. A sharp man recognizes this. He slows it down. He separates emotion from facts, and most importantly, he doesn't negotiate under pressure. Trick number 6, the social proof pressure. This one comes from society, from friends, from culture, from the crowd. You hear things like, all men should do this. Real men act like this. Everyone is doing it. And without realizing it, you start conforming, not because it's right, but because it's accepted. This is how weak standards spread. This is how average becomes normal. And this is how men lose their edge. Because they stop thinking for themselves. They start seeking approval from the group. But here's the truth. The crowd doesn't create leaders. It creates followers. And if you let society define you, you will never define yourself. Trick number 7, the fear of loss. This is the ultimate control mechanism. The fear of losing. The relationship, the opportunity, the validation. Because when you're afraid to lose something, you become easy to control. You tolerate more. You accept less. You stay longer than you should. And the other person? They feel it. They sense your fear, and consciously or not, they gain power over you. But here's the shift that changes everything. The moment you're okay with losing is the moment you become impossible to control. Because now, you act from strength, not fear. Listen carefully. This isn't about becoming cold. This isn't about manipulating others. This is about seeing clearly. Because once you see these patterns, you stop reacting emotionally. You stop chasing approval. You stop giving away your power. And something changes. Your presence becomes different. Your energy becomes grounded. Your decisions become intentional. And people feel it. Because the most dangerous man in any room is not the loudest, not the richest, not the most aggressive. It's the man who cannot be controlled. If you made it this far, you're already ahead of most men. But awareness is just step 1. If you want to build real power, real discipline, and real control over your life, then subscribe now. Because on this channel, we don't teach you how to chase. We teach you how to become the man they can't control. Hit subscribe, stay sharp, and remember, silence is power, awareness is control. Let me tell you a story. There was a guy named Alex, 25 years old, decent shape, working hard, trying to build something of himself. From the outside, he looked fine, but inside, he was slowly losing control of his life. And he didn't even realize it. It started with a girl. At first, she was everything he thought he wanted. She gave him attention, laughed at his jokes, texted him first. For the first time in a long time, he felt chosen. And that feeling, it hooked him. But then something changed. Not suddenly, subtly. She stopped replying as fast. Her tone shifted. Some days she was warm, other days she was distant. And Alex, he started overthinking. Did I say something wrong? Is she losing interest? What do I need to fix? So he did what most men do. He tried harder. More texts, more effort, less boundaries. And without realizing it, he stepped into her frame. One night, it hit him. He was sitting alone in his car, phone in his hand, reading the same message again and again. A simple text she sent. You've changed. That was it. 2 words. But those 2 words shook him. Because suddenly, he felt guilty. Like he had done something wrong. Even though, deep down, he knew he hadn't. That's when it clicked. Not instantly, but slowly, painfully, clearly. He wasn't being loved. He was being controlled. The guilt, a hook. The silence, a punishment. The hot and cold behavior, a trap. The shifting frame, a game he didn't even know he was playing. And in that moment, for the first time, he didn't react. He didn't explain. He didn't chase. He didn't apologize. He just sat there and thought, what if I stop playing? The next day, he didn't text. Not to punish her, not to prove a point, but because for the first time, he chose himself. Days passed. She came back. Of course she did. More attention, more interest, more energy. But this time, something was different. Alex wasn't chasing the feeling anymore. He saw the pattern, clearly, calmly, cold but aware. And that's when his power returned. Not because he controlled her, but because he finally stopped letting anyone control him. Most men never have that moment. They stay stuck in the loop, reacting, chasing, explaining. But the ones who wake up, they move different. They see through the game. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So ask yourself, right now, where in your life are you being Alex? And you don't even know it yet?